cards from Miguel. I wonder where he is this time. Oh, cool. It looks like he's in Texas. This state is huge. I don't know how I'm going to see it all. There are wide open plains and coastlines and rivers and even a few mountains. And there are all kinds of farm animals here. Goats, sheep, horses, and cattle with long, crazy horns. That's why they call them longhorns.
Texas is located in the southwest region of the United States. Both in area and population, Texas is the second largest state in the U.S. In fact, Texas is larger in area than all of the Northeast states, plus Ohio and Indiana from the Midwest. Texas is bordered by the southeast states of Louisiana, and Arkansas, and the southwest states of Oklahoma and New Mexico. The Rio Grande River forms the boundary between the United States and the country of Mexico. The Rio Grande is the longest river in Texas.
Hey, Rio Grande means big river in Spanish.
Like most of the rivers in Texas, the Rio Grande empties into the Gulf of Mexico, a part of the Atlantic Ocean, which borders the southeastern part of Texas. There are 4 major land areas in Texas. The low coastal plains, which rise from the Gulf of Mexico, account for about 1/3 of the area of the state. A plain is a large area of mostly flat land. Texas's coastal plains have rich soil, which makes them good for farming and for the trees that grow in the area. The Central Plains area lies in the center of the state. Many cities and towns can be found in this rolling and rugged region. This area is home to oil wells, farms, forests, and cattle ranches. Much of western Texas is made up of the Great Plains. The Great Plains is a huge area of plains located in the middle of the U.S. This area of Texas doesn't get much rainfall, but grasses grow there that are good for grazing livestock, such as horses, cattle, and sheep. The Texas Panhandle is located in this area. It's called the Panhandle because it is shaped like the handle on a pan. With its rich soils, grasslands, and plentiful sunshine, Texas is a major agricultural state. Citrus crops are grown in the coastal plains area. Cotton and wheat are grown in the Central Plains, and there are huge livestock ranches in the Great Plains region of Texas. The fourth region is the Basin and Mountain region. The only mountains found in Texas are located in this area, as well as the state's highest point, Guadalupe Peak. In between the mountains lie basins, which are low, bowl-shaped areas with higher ground all around them.
Hey, Alicia! I found the coolest thing. It's an old Spanish fort built by Spanish explorers in the early 1700s. Let's see. The Spanish first came to this area to look for gold.
For thousands of years before the Spanish arrived from Europe, Native Americans lived in the area that would become Texas. These tribes included the Apache, Comanche, and others.
The name Texas comes from Tejas, a Native American word meaning allies or friends.
In the 1500s, explorers from Spain arrived, hoping to find the land rich with gold. But instead, they found wide plains and no gold. In the 1600s, Spain began sending missionaries to the area to convert the Native Americans to Christianity. The Spanish set up missions, places of worship where priests lived and worked. A few missions still exist today, such as this one in El Paso. Though the Spanish were the first Europeans to arrive in Texas, the French also tried to take control of the area. They built a fort near Matagorda Bay. But the settlement was hard hit by disease, and the French abandoned it. Meanwhile, the Spanish continued to settle in the area and build missions as a way to establish stronger control over the area. But just to the south, people living in Mexico did not like being governed by the Spanish. They began fighting for freedom from Spanish rule and won their independence in 1821. The new government of Mexico then claimed the area, which is now the state of Texas, and offered free land to new settlers to come and live in the area. One man named Stephen Austin brought 300 families from the southern United States to settle in Texas.
Hey, I can see from the map that the capital city of Texas is Austin. It must be named in honor of Stephen Austin.
By the 1830s, most of the people living in Texas were immigrants from the United States. And these new settlers thought of themselves more as Texans than Mexicans. Tensions began to rise between the settlers and the Mexican government. In the 1830s, Mexico's ruler, General Santa Anna, tried to control the U.S. settlers. Soon, the Americans rebelled, hoping to make Texas free of Mexican rule. In 1836, Santa Anna attacked the rebellious settlers who were defending an old mission called the Alamo. Nearly 200 Americans were killed after they held off more than 10 times as many Mexican soldiers for several days. The lost fight at the Alamo inspired a new rallying cry.
Remember the Alamo!
A month later, Texas volunteers fighting under Sam Houston defeated General Santa Anna's troops at San Jacinto. They declared Texas independent and elected Sam Houston as the president of the new Republic of Texas.
Aha! Sam Houston was another person that Texas City is named for. Houston! After the war with Mexico, Texans created a flag celebrating their hard-won freedom. It's red and white with a single white star on a blue background. From the flag comes the state's nickname, the Lone Star State.
Texans know the state pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas one and indivisible.
In 1845, Texas was admitted to the United States as the 28th state, but Mexico still claimed the land as its territory. This dispute led to the Mexican War. After 2 years of fighting, Mexico was forced to give up all claims to Texas.
Wow, that's a lot of different rulers for one place. And that's not even the end of it yet.
In 1861, Texas withdrew from the United States to join the Confederate States in the American Civil War. When the Civil War ended in 1865, Texas was back in the United States.
6 national flags have flown over the land known as Texas. Can you name them? They are the Spanish, French, Mexican, Texas Republic, Confederate, and United States flags. Alicia, I've got another one for my list of the biggest, tallest, and oldest things here. The city of Houston is the biggest city in the state. About 2 million people live here, and it's got some of the biggest skyscrapers I've ever seen. Some of those skyscrapers are the offices of big oil companies. The oil business is really big in Texas.
Texas produces more oil than any other state in the U.S. Why is so much oil found in Texas? The story really starts millions of years ago. The area that would one day be Texas was covered by shallow seas. When marine plants and animals died, they fell to the bottom of the sea. Deep layers of rock and sand and dirt covered the dead plants and animals. Over millions of years, the pressure of the heavy rock layers turned the dead plant and animal material into oil. The oil ran through cracks in rocks and collected in big underground pools. For a long time, people didn't know how much oil was in Texas. Then in 1901, a crew was drilling for oil on a hill called Spindletop, near Beaumont, Texas. Suddenly, a huge stream of oil burst high into the air. The Texas oil boom had begun. People began searching all over Texas for oil. Towns called boom towns grew quickly in places where oil was found. Towns like Minton and Payette started out as boom towns. Because it's located deep underground, oil can be difficult to find. Scientists study the kinds of rock found in an area to see if they think oil is present. Then workers use an enormous steel machine to drill through the dirt and rock layers. Sometimes they drill a mile or more deep. If they strike oil, special pipes are lowered into the ground. These pipes bring oil to the surface. The oil that comes straight out of the ground is called crude oil. Crude oil isn't very useful. It must be taken to a factory called a refinery. There, the crude oil is heated and refined, or separated into parts. This refined oil is made into different products, including gasoline and heating oil. Many things that you might not think of are made from refined oil, such as paint, plastic pens, crayons, toothbrushes, eyeglasses, balloons, lipstick, and even the soles of your sneakers. So the next time you see someone using a product made from Texas oil, you'll know where it comes from. Oil is an example of a natural resource, which is something found in nature that people can use. The vast land area of Texas contains many valuable natural resources, including natural gas. Natural gas is a fuel that is burned to heat people's homes and water, and is also used for cooking. Natural gas deposits are often found within oil fields, and the gas is transported around the nation by pipelines. Because it has a unique combination of natural resources, Texas has become a major industrial center. It has lots of fuels to power factories and lots of raw materials to make things from. Today, Texas companies make all kinds of things, from cars and airplanes to chemicals and cement. Cities along the coast have access to the ocean, so they can ship Texas